Continuing with the same energy, Surat, where the spirit of entrepreneurship runs deep, makes it the perfect place for us to host the Dhandho Valley event.
The event is about connecting ideas to investments, exploring opportunities, and discussing emerging themes. We have divided the session into various panels of discussion where we have invited promoters from different industries and investors to share their journey and the understanding of the business. But together, let's explore a day filled with inspiration, knowledge, and opportunities. Before we move forward, let's take a moment to honor late Mr. Rakesh Jhunjhunwala, an esteemed investor, and late Mr. Ratan Tata, an esteemed industrialist. We have lost two titans in the last 2 years. Please join me in a heartfelt round of silence to honor their incredible legacy.
Tile, diamond, solar, chemical, transformer industries. One of our investment companies from this city has announced its IPO recently. Yes, it's a proud moment for all of us to acknowledge the IPO announcement of Vari Energies Limited, a leading name in the solar energy sector. The company has grown from 2 gigawatts to now 13.3 gigawatts in a span of 3 years. It's a remarkable achievement for all of us. We are extremely delighted to be a part of this investment journey with Vari Energies Limited. So, let's get started. Our first session, which is the solar surge, Surat se Suraj tak, where we will focus on how solar energy is shaping the future of power generation. I would like to invite our first panel of speakers from the solar sector.
We welcome Mr. Ankit Singhania, Mr. Chirag Nakrani, Mr. Hardik Kothia, Mr. Chetan Shah, Mr. Shaheedul Hasan, and Mr. Mahesh Ramanujam.
Please join us on the stage.
Mr. Ankit Singhania, co-founder and director of sales and procurement at Navitas Solar, a solar module manufacturing company based out of Surat. With over a decade of experience in real estate and solar energy sector, he has an in-depth understanding of solar module manufacturing process, industry practices, and trends. He also manages company supply chain management and global level. Mr. Chirag Nakrani, co-founder and managing director at Rayzon Solar, a solar module manufacturing company. Mr. Chirag has over 7 years of experience in various facets of solar industry, including technical planning, sales, international business development, and marketing. Mr. Hardik Kothia, co-founder and managing director at Rayzon Solar. He has over 7 years of experience in actively managing key business activities like strategic planning, production, and international businesses. Mr. Chetan Shah, chairman and managing director at Solex Energy, a photovoltaic module manufacturing company. Mr. Chetan has served as the youngest president of the Southern Gujarat Chamber of Commerce.
Thank you so much, everyone, to be here early in the morning. And the topic itself is interesting. Surat se Suraj tak. I'll start with the same question. What has happened in our city which is so unique that we have all the giants, in and around 100 kilometers of Surat, right? The whole ecosystem of solar has come up so beautifully in our city. And it is something in the city, of course. We have diamonds, leaders of the world, textile, again, leader in the country. So, how do you think this ecosystem got developed in our city? And what have you all done to develop? Because you have made that ecosystem, right? All stalwarts are here of the city. So, one by one, if you can all tell us that how you're taking it forward, that ecosystem. Because if we've seen across various industries where ecosystem has got developed in a area, it then, takes forward for multiple decades. So what you're making sure to ensure that that remains here, because Odisha is giving a tough fight, right? New capacities are coming over there, cell capacities are coming over here, and we all know that cell is critical going forward for every module manufacturer to backward integrate into, which I guess Odisha is leading the race right now in terms of the new capacity additions being announced. So one by one, if all of you can take this question.
Very good morning to all. And I'm really happy to have this kind of session. I think this is the first in Surat. And, uh, you know, the names which are like, displayed here, Niveshaay and Dhandho, I think that's something which is quite most relevant to the city of Surat. And the first session, again, Surat se Suraj tak. I think that's a very unique title. And this is the most relevant title. It's because the Surat is on the bank of river Tapi. And Tapi is a Surya Putri. Right. So basically we are all like, the family and, child of Surya only. We call ourselves as a Surya Vansi. So, I mean, anything which relates to solar or Surya, I mean, Surat is the most appropriate place.
We have a competitive advantage.
So, Surat, we have more blessings from Lord Surya. And that's why the Surat has done wonders. Not only in, traditionally Surat is known for textile and diamonds and chemical and so on. So in textile man-made fiber, Surat is, the highest producer of fabric. In diamond, yes, everyone knows the history. In terms of solar panel also, Surat basically, is #1 city in the country where the capacity of, the more than 50% capacity that lies in, the production capacity is from Surat. So I think there is no other reasons, but we are all like, Surya Putra, and that's the reason so I think I don't have any other best answer to, to give you. But yes, the thing is, just very briefly, because all will have some or other, reason to say. But I think Surat is a place which is geographically, which is very, very important. It's located somewhere which is very close to the port and all other infrastructure. We are in a capital item business, and then, the infrastructure is something which is very, very important. So I think Gujarat is the best place, and then no other better place than Surat in Gujarat for this kind of industry. So when it comes to module manufacturing, we are leading, and now basically the way the other companies are expanding, they're doing their backward integration. I think Surat will continue its journey as a leader in terms of the solar product manufacturing.
Good morning to all of you. It's a pleasure, it's my honor to be a part of this distinguished panelist. I'm the only person who is not from the manufacturing background, but from system integration. Surat, as Chetan bhai said, so first of all, the sunrise starts the day, and good that you are starting your program from the business which starts with sun and Suraj and Suryaputra. So Surat as a city has been historically from entrepreneurship, it is ingrained in our DNA. And what I call that business is in blood of Surtis. अगर सुरतियों का वेन काटा जाए तो शायद ब्लड नहीं निकलेगा, वो डॉलर और रुपए यही निकलेंगे उसमें से. So that's in the blood actually. And Surat has always been on the forefront and newer position, #1 position. Take diamond for example. 90% of the world diamond is being given by Surat. Think of textile. Manchester of India used to be Ahmedabad, but somehow Surat snatched it from Ahmedabad, and now Surat is the biggest hub in this region, in entire Asia. And good thing is that not only manufacturing, but trading hub also. And now third thing which has happened is this solar. In entire country, whatever be the capacity, total capacity ka around 40% is in Gujarat. And out of 40%, probably 60% is in Surat. I mean, Wari alone, for example, as it is mentioned right now, 13.3 gigawatt, then Goldi, Solex, Navitas, Rayzon, so many companies. So Surat mein wo, it is actually in the DNA of Surti to take up latest technologies, do something for society, do something for the world, earn the money, and improve the, living standard of the people. So as far as solar is concerned, one more thing I would like to add, that when rooftop started, JEDA used to be the nodal agency, but Surat Municipal Corporation is the only municipal corporation in our state which took up as a second nodal agency. And they wanted to collect all the documents from the Surtis, do the corrections so that it reaches to JEDA and the application doesn't get rejected. So that's the reason because of which Surat ke aap chat pe dekhen, so every rooftop now you will find that it is decorated with solar panels. So that's all as of now. I'm sure other people would add something and then I'll come back.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Good morning, everyone. We get up in the morning, we see ourselves in the mirror. What do we see? We see a businessman. And that is why Surat is going up. Regarding solar, as Chetan bhai rightly said, more than 50% of India's production, and I think soon it will cross 70% of entire India's production will be happening in and around Surat. Every company in Surat is expanding 10 times of the current capacities. We are located in a very right position. The biggest market in solar industry is in West India, basically Rajasthan, Gujarat, and Maharashtra. We are able to cater to these markets in a much better and efficient way than what any other state can do. Again, our state policies, our government systems, no headache of unions, which happens in other states. All these factors contribute to us expanding so rapidly.
Thank you.
गुड मॉर्निंग एवरीवन. ज़्यादा नहीं कहूँगा बट मैं इतना कहूँगा कि सूरत की अगर सबसे पहले बात करें तो सूरत इज़ कर्म भूमि, कि अगर किसी को कुछ करना है तो सूरत इज़ अ वेरी राइट प्लेस. ओके, और यहाँ पे जो भी बिजनेसेस एक्सपेंशन हुए, जैसे अगर हम बात करें टेक्सटाइल, डायमंड, तो वैसे ही सोलार की यहाँ पर जो है वो लोगों में वो एग्रेशन है, वो जज्बा है नंबर 1 तक पहुँचने का. तो वही चीज़ जो है वो सोलार को ऊपर लेके आई. एंड यस, जैसे एक्सपर्ट्स ने कहा वैसे गवर्नमेंट का जो सपोर्ट है वो बहुत अच्छा रहा. उसके बाद अगर बात करें तो जियोग्राफिकली जो है वो भी एक एडवांटेज मिला कि भाई सूरत इज़ इन मिडल ऑफ इंडिया. ओके, तो लॉजिस्टिक वाइज हमें जो है वो बहुत अच्छा पड़ता है इन टर्म्स ऑफ नॉर्थ एंड साउथ. गवर्नमेंट की जो सपोर्ट है वो बहुत अच्छी रही. लोगों में अवेयरनेस है, वो आज के दिन में बहुत ज़्यादा सोलार किया है. तो आई गेस दिस इज़ द मिक्स एंड मैच की जिससे सोलार की इकोसिस्टम सूरत में इतनी डेवलप हुई.
Mahesh. No, Mahesh, please. Acha, okay. Thank you so much. I guess, so again, I mean, if you look at industries, I guess the culture is very important. As all of you have said that if you look at various products, Surat has brought down cost by 80-90%, be it textile. All fabrics were made around the country. Bihar se, Madhya Pradesh se, har jagah se, wo fabric ka cost we brought down by 90-95% and we became the leader. So in diamond, I mean, no one can match the kind of cost curve that are there, and now in solar. So kind of a mini China we are running over here in Surat, I guess. So many industrialists are here, many investors are here. So you can do the matchmaking and start some industries over here. Our city is blessed with the kind of cost curves that it can bring down. I always keep on promoting, to thoda bas promotion ke liye ek question. Anyway, so moving forward, again, everyone has, aggressive plans, as, Ankit was saying, or Chirag bhai, aap bhi resonate karoge ke सभी या तो सोलेक्स लिस्टेड है, या तो केपी लिस्टेड है, या तो गोल्डी, रेजॉन या नवितास जो है लिस्टिंग करने वाले हैं और सभी के केपेक्स प्लान बहुत अग्रेसिव है. 5x 10x की हम यहाँ पे बातें कर रहे हैं. एंड दिस इज द इंडस्ट्री जिसका बेस इंडिया में बहुत छोटा था, है ना. हम चाइना में देखें, ओवर द पास्ट maybe 10-15 years, they were nowhere in the solar map to being the leader in the world. Be it solar glass, right? Nowhere on the world map. 10 साल में Germany, all over the world, the plants shut down. Only 2 plants in the world survived, one here, Borosil, and one other in Germany, right? Be it any ancillary industry related to solar. China has been the behemoth, right? Now we are saying that, boss, we are going to expand what China did in the manner or fashion which China did, having 10x capacities. Here we don't have a support of the government as such which China has, right? So, so of course the policy has, maybe made that change, in the last couple of years where the government has promoted ALMM schemes which are encouraging you because the profitability has gone up. But what else do you think would be sufficient for you to do a 10x and, repeat the journey, or maybe, follow the journey which maybe China did, or maybe create your own journeys? Because maybe those cost curves has a role for the government also to play. Here, maybe that is not represented that well. So how are you planning your expansions, and how are you looking at the, expansion going forward in terms of competition? I know you all are friends off stage, but are also competitors in a way. So how do you feel that this huge capacity which is going to come up is going to stack up against each other? मतलब थोड़ा आप लोग मैं इसलिए चाह रहा हूँ क्योंकि ये सबसे बड़ी डिबेट है अभी. चिराग भाई के सब कैपेसिटी ला रहे हैं, तो क्या होएगा आगे, और क्या इंडिया सही में वो जर्नी लीड कर पाएगा जो मे बी चाइना में विटनेस हुई है. तो अगर आप इस क्वेश्चन को थोड़ा सब हाईलाइट करें. यस महेश जी.
So first of all, congratulations for such a wonderful event, because putting together an event like this is very, very hard. So I wish you more events to come so we can have more active dialogue on this process. Actually, I live in the US, so my lens is slightly different, and I'm sure Chetan bhai will amend it. The most important thing that I think we should be thinking about is not benchmarking China against cost, capacity, doing this import-export. That's all very short-term thinking. I think that's what this Surat community does best. So they'll get optimized. I don't think that's the biggest challenge. The real challenge is quality. How do you drive quality on the ground? And I was talking to Chetan by about 2 weeks, 3 weeks ago in the airport. And the biggest thing he talked about is discipline, governance, building the practices, if you recall, sir. And most importantly, really, really training the people to think about quality. Because what should not happen is what happened in America about 10 years ago. If you look up the story of Solyndra, it was an embarrassment for President Obama, because the company failed. When the company fails, doesn't matter which company fails, but when that company fails, you are going to shake the market confidence. So we are sitting on the floor here as industry leaders. So we are transforming industry. Why this is important? We are getting to a clean energy environment by 2070. But there is a contradiction that we have got Viksit Bharat agenda by 2047. How can you be a Viksit Bharat without being a clean energy Bharat? If you don't link it, then you're not thinking this correctly. So I think quality, capacity, and most importantly, competency. Competency meaning innovation. So what we should learn from China is we should learn how to innovate faster, bigger, smarter. That is going to transform the lives of so many Indians. So that's the way I would start this conversation.
Thank you so much.
Let's look from the ecosystem and the dream or vision of our Honorable Prime Minister. And once the head of the country gives a commitment to United Nations or the world, that becomes the commitment of every Indian, right? So we are here to fulfill that dream for 2 reasons. Number one, that this is a commitment that has been given by our head of the country. And number two, it is a matter of survival. It is a matter of sustenance, sustainability. So as far as competition that you mentioned, I'm the only person who is not competing with anybody. So
You're
probably
the
I'll be in a better position to, I'm in a very balancing position. That, so what I would like to say is that the pie is quite big. Think of 500 gigawatt. That's the number which is our target by 2030. All of us know about it. Out of that, we have completed only about 150 gigawatt if I take wind and solar both put together along with biomass. If I put hydro, it becomes 211 gigawatt as of 10th October, to be more precise. But let's concentrate to solar alone. Out of this 500 gigawatt, 280 gigawatt is earmarked for solar. That means, and we have completed just 90 gigawatt. So 280 minus 90 is about another 200 gigawatt that we need to do. And years left are 5. Right? That means every year we will have to do approximately 40 to 50 gigawatt as a target of solar. I'm talking about execution. See, as far as installed capacity of the plants are concerned and the monthly production that happens, usually the monthly production is 50 to 60%. Correct me if I'm wrong, but if it is around 50 to 60% of the stamped capacity. When we say Wari is 13.3 gigawatt, annually they would be producing anywhere around 5 to 6 gigawatt. Anybody having 6 gigawatt of installed capacity, it would be 50 to 60% only that is being done. So point I'm trying to make is that the pie is quite big. Everybody has got its own share to contribute. So every year we are supposed to do 40 gigawatt. Coming to Gujarat alone, Gujarat is always on the forefront on everything, including renewable energy. We all are aware that the potential of Gujarat from solar perspective is about 45 gigawatt, 46, 45 gigawatt. And both put together, solar as well as wind, the potential of Gujarat is 180 gigawatt. Out of 180 gigawatt, we have completed only about 26 gigawatt. So nothing, right? Not even 15, 16, 18%. So another 85% is to be done Gujarat alone. And that's the reason that Gujarat has taken a target. Out of 500 gigawatt, Gujarat and Surtis will do 100 gigawatt of renewable by 2030. That's the target that Gujarat has taken, right? And Khavda alone, that RE solar park as well as wind park, RE park, is 30 gigawatt of renewable capacity is being developed there. So all the big parties have taken a target, and I'm happy to announce that my group, our KP group, your group actually, has also taken a target that to fulfill the dream of Honorable Prime Minister of 500 gigawatt, we have taken a call that we will contribute 2% of that at least. So 10 gigawatt minimum will be the contribution of KP in this 500 gigawatt by 2030. Similarly, there are other companies. Let me take the names also. Adani. Recently, Gautam Bhai announced that their contribution will be 45 gigawatt in RE. Our Mukesh Bhai Ambani, he has declared about 40 gigawatt. Then NTPC is planning to do about 60 plus gigawatt, and most of them they are planning to do in Gujarat, because Gujarat is a God-gifted state if you take from radiation perspective or if you take from wind perspective. Out of 7,600 coastal area, 1,600 coastal region is given by God to Gujarat alone, right? So onshore and offshore, both we are planning. In fact, offshore announcement has already come. I'm sure you would be aware. So there is about 36 gigawatt of offshore is being planned in another, let's say, 4 to 5 years. So point I'm trying to make is that there is a huge pie and everybody will have to contribute to that. And this is for our own survival that we need to do.
I guess
Yeah,
also from radiation's perspective, Gujarat, but stock market perspective as well. all have to develop those capacities because everyone is getting rewarded in the markets these days. If your execution and KP has done, all of you who are listed are doing that, and maybe people who will get listed in the future are doing that. So I guess Gujarat has the stock market perspective as well.
So another point raised was 500 gigawatt of capacities. I'll disagree with that. Frankly, with the new power tariff, renewable plus storage system is now costing lesser than fuel energy. Be it coal, be it thermal, whatever, it's costing lesser. So basically, renewable will be replacing your regular power source. So in that sense, the scope and the speed at which we have to grow will be much faster. We have to replace fossil fuel now, and we are competing them in and beating fossil fuel in cost now. So again, every single person will now be looking and using fossil fuel in the coming renewables in the coming future. One point raised by Arvind was about the capacity increase and how we will be able to survive and compete with China. It is a known fact we will need some protections from the government, but the scale and the processes now which all the manufacturers here are following, these are world-class processes. We are competing with the best of the world now. Our automations levels are world-class, completely automized, completely robotics. Again, our market will not be just India. In the coming future, we will be the market for the world. People are shying away from China, and I think Surat especially has a place which will replace China for the global market.
Well, I think that's more relevant question which is thrown here, that the kind of capacity which is being announced and expanded. And so basically, there will be a lot of internal competition against a business which is fixed. In fact, the 500 megawatt target, Indian target, which we are talking, right, and out of which maybe 60% will be solar. In fact, I think 2 years ago, in one of a conference, I mentioned that 500 gigawatt is not a sufficient target for India. India has a potential to do 1,000 gigawatt. So during that conference, like couple of people, they did not like my idea of 1,000 gigawatt. And now what happens, last month there was a discussion in one of a conference by the government PSUs that how to increase that 500 gigawatt to 750 gigawatt by 2030 only. I mean, it's not that by 2035. So 1,000 gigawatt is not far away for India, and which is doable. Now, if it is 1,000...
Chetan, if you can highlight on this point, this is a wonderful point, because what target was made was assuming certain, power price, certain demand for power, and certain maybe learning curve that the Indian manufacturing industry would achieve. Now, here in 2024, I guess we are all surprised by the power demand that this country will have, or all countries around the world will have because of AI, mechanization of factories, whatever industry you're talking about, EV, everything is power intensive, right? Second, the cost curve that we've achieved over here. Again, no one imagined that India would have such huge capex in solar in such a short span of time, and now we're looking at even more, right? So considering these, what do you think these updated numbers should be? And the point that Ankit told, that now with the prices of storage going down, you can have a combination of these two, which can replace your thermal or 24-hour electricity by that combination. So these factors will have to change the target, right?
So basically, why the 1,000 gigawatt target, which I thrown 2 years back? like we are trying to convert our existing fossil fuel capacity to the non-fossil fuel capacity. That is one of the target, and keeping that in mind, we have set a target of 500 gigawatt, which was 100 gigawatt earlier, right? Now, basically, if you look at the CARC website and their data, the consumption of electricity, which was traditionally increased by 3% annually, which has increased to now 9%, 3% to 9%, which is equivalent to 30 gigawatt. That means India is increased the consumption by 30 gigawatt per annum. The forecast is that will go to almost about 12 to 14%. That means 45 gigawatt. So if you are adding consumption of 45 gigawatt annually, where will you get it from? And when we are focusing on a non-fossil, the majority is the solar, like 60-70% will be come from solar. And that's the reason I said, like, the target of 1,000 gigawatt is the right target for at least coming 15 years for India, and which is achievable. Challenge is that how come there is so many capacity, because I keep getting these questions every day that when India is talking about 100 gigawatt of module manufacturing, and which is almost about 70 gigawatt right now, 70 plus gigawatt, and which will become 100 gigawatt, then where will you dump this product? Like, we don't have that much consumption here. So, rightly said, Hasanji, like we have a nameplate capacity and the actual achievable capacity. Before 2019, we used to celebrate if we touch 40% of our capacity utilization. So there was a party. Like, we have done 40% of our capacity because there was a lot of import coming from China. Now India all manufacturers can think of achieving 75-80% efficiency. Just because of the two support. The tariff barrier, which is BCD, and the non-tariff barrier, which is ALLM. 2019, Indian cumulative capacity, module manufacturing capacity was 6 gigawatt. And if you discount these 2 years of COVID, just in 2 years' time, India has increased this capacity from 6 gigawatt to 70 gigawatt, which is operational now. China has not done this. China has done this massive, but after so many years of support and this thing, just by having these two small support, India has added this capacity. And now there is no one is shouting like that, we are not getting modules, and we are not getting quality modules. Indian developers, they were serviced by Chinese manufacturers for so many years. So they have a habit of, having a services like Chinese companies, like scale, the speed, and a lot of things. For us, the challenge is now those who will able to develop this kind of scale, efficiency, continuity, and consistency in a business, they will survive, supported by the backward integration. That's something which is very important for us. We cannot just be a module manufacturer. We have to have a cell, wafer, ingot, polysilicon, everything in-house. And when it comes to the dependency on China, we can definitely reduce it, but yes, with the support of China. So normally, lighter side, I always say, Hindi Chini bye bye, the slogan which was there, I think that will help us. So obviously, we do not want to be dependent, but the way they have developed and the way they have scaled up this industry, I think there is a lot to learn from them. Correct. And I always say, I don't mind praising them in public, but because they have done wonders. So I think this is the way India can scale up. And Indian cost, the Indian manufacturing cost, if you look at the last tender, which was GIPCL tender, I think, there was a competition between Indian companies and Chinese company, and Indian company was cheaper than the Chinese bid. So I think, what else we want?
On that front, so I will want to play maybe, a tug of war between, the EPC guy and the module manufacturers, because they are pulling the policy towards, boss, why there should be restrictions. We should get modules without restriction at a cheaper cost. And you would be, in the policy making, wanting to push for more protection so that the profitability comes for expansion and R&D and, backward integration. So the policy has shaped up very nicely. towards, maybe giving that kind of ecosystem for the module manufacturers to give them a shot, becoming backward integrated, becoming more, scalable players. But do you think that the policy can have bumps around the corner, or what in your interaction, Hasan bhai or Chetan bhai or Mahesh ji, aap log, anyone can contribute in this question. But what I want to understand that when you are having meetings, आप कैसे कन्विंस कर रहे हैं कि नहीं ALMM में रहना चाहिए, ALCM तक जब तक हमको कैपेसिटी सेल की नहीं लाए उसको कंटिन्यू करना चाहिए, आप कैसे पुश कर रहे हैं to reduce the prices of the panels for more projects to happen? So how do you maneuver those challenges in regulatory challenges?
Well, so basically ये एक बहुत ही लंबी डिबेट है और काफ़ी जस्टिफिकेशंस भी मांगे गए थे और दिए भी गए हैं जस्टिफिकेशंस फॉर दैट. बेसिकली क्या है कि सोलर पावर का जो अभी कॉस्ट है मार्केट में, जो IPP अभी जो बीड करते हैं, दैट इज़ इन द रेंज ऑफ समवेयर अबाउट 2.5 to 3 रुपीज़, राइट. ठीक है, वो एक टैरिफ पे ये चल रहा है आई थिंक. और इससे बीच में उससे भी कम गया था, विच वॉज क्वाइट इनऑर्गेनिक था. But 2.5 to 3 rupees is fine. I mean, everybody earns out of it, and if you earn out of it, you will sustain in the business. You will grow. You will do more and more. If you don't anything out of it, you will quit. तो basically ये price point ऐसा है कि और बाकी फिर जो landed cost बोलते हैं ना, जो transmission and other discom cost वगैरह सब गिनते हैं, which is much reasonable cost nowadays. So with the Indian modules. चाइनीज़ और इंडियन मॉड्यूल्स की जो प्राइस का डिफरेंस है, चाइनीज़ मॉड्यूल्स आर एक्चुअली सब्सिडाइज मॉड्यूल्स सपोर्टेड बाय द एक्सपोर्ट सब्सिडीज एंड द अदर मैन्युफैक्चरिंग सब्सिडीज. सो इनऑर्गेनिक प्राइस है ये, ठीक है. आज एक भी चाइनीज़ कंपनी, मान लो इफ दे आर सेलिंग सोलर सेल्स एट 3 और 3.2 सेंट्स, तो दे आर नॉट हैप्पी, दे आर मेकिंग लॉसेस. ठीक है, वो लॉसेस और कहीं से उनको सपोर्ट मिलकर कवर अप कर रहा है, विच इज़ नॉट देयर इन इंडिया. हिस्टोरिकली देखेंगे तो इंडिया में ऐसा कोई सपोर्ट आज दिन तक नहीं आया है और आने वाला भी नहीं है. सो वी हैव टू बी वेरी competitive, वेरी एफिशिएंट इन टर्म्स ऑफ अ कॉस्टिंग. इन स्पाइट ऑफ ऑल दिस, इंडिया हैज़ अचीव्ड दैट. ठीक है. सो बेसिकली ये जो प्राइस है, अभी भी कोई भी इंडियन डेवलपर को जो प्राइस पॉइंट चल रहा है वहाँ पे कंप्लेन नहीं है, बिकॉज वही हिसाब से बीड हो रहा है. ठीक है. सो आई थिंक द IPPs आर ऑल्सो अर्निंग, द मॉड्यूल मैन्युफैक्चरर्स आर ऑल्सो अर्निंग. इंडस्ट्री ग्रो हो रहा है, काफ़ी ग्रो हो रहा है, सभी मैन्युफैक्चरिंग एंड द IPPs दोनों ग्रो हो रहे हैं. 2015 में जब अदानी बिजनेस में आए थे, तब सब लोग कह रहे थे कि जो मॉड्यूल मैन्युफैक्चरर है उनका क्या होगा, इतना बड़ा कॉर्पोरेट आ रहा है. सो बेसिकली एट दैट टाइम मैंने वही कहा था, 100 गीगावाट का जो है टारगेट, वो अपना धंधा लेके आएगा. तो जैसे अदानी एंटर हुआ मार्केट में, 2 साल में इंडियन MNRE ने 100 का 500 कर दिया. हमारे पास जो 100 गीगावाट में से जो 20 गीगावाट का जो मार्केट था, वो 500 गीगावाट हो गया, और 500 गीगावाट में हमारे लिए अदर देन अदानी 200 ले लिया, 300 सभी के लिए हो गया. दैट मीन्स एक साल भी ऐसा नहीं गया है कि इंडियन मैन्युफैक्चरर ने अपना कैपेसिटी एक्सपांड नहीं किया है. चाइनीज़ इंपोर्ट हो रहा था तब भी, और अभी LLM बैरियर्स है, नॉन टेरिफ बैरियर्स है, तब भी स्पीड बढ़ गया काफ़ी. तो आई थिंक इंडियन इकोसिस्टम जो है ना, अभी जो स्केल पे आया है, आप देखो ग्लास मैन्युफैक्चरर्स पहले एक था बोरोसिल, 4 हो गए और 2 आ रहे हैं. EVM मैन्युफैक्चरर्स 2 थे, सिर्फ 22 हो गए इंडिया में. एंड ऑल आर लाइक हैविंग अ गुड बिजनेस, जो भी क्वालिटी पे काम कर रहे हैं वो. जंक्शन बॉक्स मैन्युफैक्चरर 0 थे, 3 हो गए. सारे BOS की बात करें, बैकशीट, एल्यूमिनियम फ्रेम, सब की बात करें, एवरीथिंग इज बीइंग मैन्युफैक्चर्ड एवर इन इंडिया. तो आई थिंक ये एक स्केल ऐसा लेके आएगा, इकोसिस्टम जितना डेवलप होगा, एफिशिएंसी बढ़ेगा, कॉस्ट बढ़ेगा, अच्छा होगा, इम्प्रोवाइज होगा. वी डोंट नीड सपोर्ट फॉर लाइफ लॉन्ग. ठीक है. एक आई स्टिल रिमेंबर, जस्ट इफ यू अलाउ मी टू 1 more minute. आई मीन IT business for 34 years now. I started in 1990. प्रमोद महाजन जी तब IT मिनिस्टर हुआ करते थे, तो नेस्कॉम का एक एनुअल सेशन था. उसमें अपना हमारे नारायण मूर्ति साहब थे, बैठे थे, और फिर प्रमोद महाजन ने अपनी बात की कि भाई आप बताइए इंडस्ट्री को क्या चाहिए गवर्नमेंट की ओर से, वी आर रेडी टू सपोर्ट यू. आप बताइए हमें क्या चाहिए, यू गिव अस अ लिस्ट ऑफ योर रिक्वायरमेंट. नारायण मूर्ति बाद में फिर अपना रिस्पॉन्स देने के लिए आए. उन्होंने कहा एक ही लाइन में, ऑन अ लाइटर साइड, प्लीज स्टे अवे फ्रॉम अस. ठीक है? No industry can grow lifelong with the government support. It has to be self-sustaining.
Self-sustaining.
ये धंधे की बात करते हैं ना, तो ये अपने खुद पे ही होना चाहिए. कोई भी कॉस्टिंग आप गवर्नमेंट सब्सिडी पे हिसाब से आप बिजनेस प्लान कर रहे हो तो यू आर रॉन्ग. यूएस हैज फेल्ड इन दैट वे. और अभी भी जो यूएस का सिचुएशन है, सो इंडिया के अंदर एक अच्छा है कि हमें बहुत ज़्यादा सब्सिडी नहीं मिल रही है. सो बिजनेस we can plan our business in a sustainable way, so how we can survive without it. It is a bonus. So basically, ये एक मॉडल के अंदर ऐसा है कि support non-tariff barrier is needed to scale up. Scale up हो गया, you become a competitive, निकल जाओ इसमें से फिर. Then you compete with global other players also.
I think you need to maintain a balance between the two, actually. Coming to this DCR module, I was discussing with Chetan bhai कि अभी मैंने अपने फ्लैट के ऊपर लगवाया. So with my special link with all the manufacturers, I could manage at a lower cost. But otherwise, it is 22 to 23 rupees per watt that I'm getting one panel, right? Now, compared to 23 rupees, the non-DCR is at 13 rupees. That means 10 rupees per watt is the gap of DCR and non-DCR. DCR means domestic content requirement. That means everything should be like cell should be manufactured in India. So that panel is called DCR. And if the cells are from China, then those are non-DCR. See the difference. 10 rupees per watt means in 1 megawatt, the difference is 1 crore rupees. And today, 1 megawatt is being implemented at 2.5 CR. So if in 2.5 CR, non-DCR is being implemented, if I go for DCR, it becomes 3.5 CR. 33% cost, 30% extra cost, or even more than that, I need to pay. So there has to be a balancing. If I pay that high, naturally the cost of production, LCOE, levelized cost of energy, goes high. So there has to be some balancing, because on one hand, we want to do 500 gigawatt by 2030 and 1000 gigawatt in future, inshallah. At the same time, I mean, if there is a DCR content kind of binding which is required, restrictions are being imposed, then there will be the speed breaker that you mentioned, the bumps would come in achieving the target. While the other side is that India can't always depend upon China and other countries. I mean, we have to finally stand on our own legs. So our own manufacturing also will have to become world class, not only for the domestic requirement, but we should be in a position to export also. So finally, there is some support that is required. जैसे हमारे यहाँ जो downtrodden sections हैं, so Constitution has given them some, security in terms of reservation. So similarly, some arrangement has been done and it is needed. But याद रखें कि बैसाखी के द्वारा, बैसाखी के सहारे मैराथन नहीं जीता जा सकता. अगर आपको मैराथन जीतना है तो अपने कदमों पे, अपने पैरों पे खड़े होना पड़ेगा. तो ये तो इंडस्ट्री को ये चीज करनी ही पड़ेगी. Government has been supporting a lot actually. If you think from allocation perspective, 24,000 crore rupees, so $2.9 billion has been allocated for PLI, for high efficiency cells as well as solar panel manufacturing. 20,700 crore, it is about $2.5 billion, has been allocated for ISTS strengthening, so that green corridor can be built and power manufactured in Rajasthan and in Kutch could be transported across the country. Similarly, for battery that we spoke, for battery there is 9,400 crore allocation which government has done. So it's $1.1 billion. Because battery, as he rightly mentioned, it is a bit expensive at this point of time. I'm struggling for my storage cost is coming out to be around 8 rupees per unit. So if a storage cost is 8 rupees per unit, it is not sustainable. Unless it comes down to around 2 to 3 rupees, it's going to be difficult. But finally, that's the reason that BESS is not taking off. So there is a support required by government, and government is supporting from that perspective. Similarly, your green hydrogen is going to be the fuel of the future. One of the, I mean, the smallest element in the world, but going to be the game changer in the storage capacity. Remember, hydrogen is not a source of energy, but it's a storage actually. So around 20,000 crore has been allocated for that also. So government has been supporting, but finally the bottom line is that we will all have to stand on our own feet if we really want to compete with the world.
Thank you so much. Ankit, if I can just elaborate on what Hasan bhai said, that there's a difference of 10 rupees, yeah, right? 23 rupees if there's a DCR module versus 13. Leaving the profits aside, what do you think is the cost differential that is still remaining to be achieved? Of course, profitability cycles would correct itself over the coming years, but if you look at, if you can break down, because I know you do a lot of component analysis के frame India में कितने की बनती है, glass कितने का बनता है, आपका EVA sheet कितने की बनती है, आपका cell कितने का बनता है, तो कहाँ पे हमने already achieve कर लिया है maybe some competitiveness with China and hence the differential might go away, और कहाँ पे still cell में we are making strides but it will take time, that ecosystem is getting developed, but other components are also important for bringing down that cost. Where all you think we've achieved that and where we will achieve in the coming 2 years?
So speaking about cell first, again as Chetan bhai rightly suggested, Chinese manufacturers are losing money right now and the government is supporting them. Again, what the Indian companies are charging is exceptionally high, but we need to give them that leverage for few years so that they can grow, they can
if
develop.
you can talk about conversion cost.
Okay,
ठीक है, profit छोड़ दो, वो नुकसान कर रहे हैं.
Okay.
चाइना में सेल का conversion cost कितने सेंट आता है, अभी इंडिया में कितना आ रहा होगा?
कन्वर्जन की जगह मैं प्राइस की बात करूंगा. चाइना में प्राइस 3 सेंट का चल रहा है, जबकि इंडिया में 15 सेंट का चल रहा है. Again, speaking to all the manufacturers in India also, they are getting a cost of close to 6 to 7 cents. So 100% का margin है. But because it's a technological product and it keeps on changing very fast, these guys need to make that sort of money कि उनका अगर 2 साल में प्रोजेक्ट फ्री हो जा रहा है तो ही वो हिम्मत करेंगे, क्योंकि पैसा बहुत इन्वॉल्व है इसमें एंड रिस्क बहुत हाई है. Going ahead with ecosystem being developed, our engineers being much more trained, आज के दिन सेल लगाने के लिए इंडिया में 3 साल लगते हैं, यही चाइना में 1 साल लगता है. ये 3 साल को हम अगर शॉर्ट करके 1.5 साल पे ले आएंगे तो हमारा टेक्नोलॉजिकल रिस्क बहुत कम हो जाएगा. सो अगेन आवर इंजीनियर्स आर गेटिंग ट्रेन्ड, देयर स्किल्स आर गेटिंग इम्प्रूव्ड. धीरे धीरे आई थिंक दिस कॉस्ट ऑल्सो विल कम डाउन एंड आई थिंक विल कम टू अ रीजनेबल कॉस्ट पैरिटी विद रीजनेबल मार्जिन.
तो इंडिया में 6 सेंट कॉस्ट आता है सेल बनाने का,
6 से 7 या.
तो पॉलीसिलिकॉन हम कितने में इंपोर्ट करते हैं?
अगेन दैट्स Chinese price only
Chinese
because
price,
wafer we are
3.5.
importing. Yeah.
So our conversion cost is 3 cents.
No. So I think in China, if I'm not wrong, 1.5 cent is the wafer cost and another 2 cents is the conversion cost for them. Okay. So 3.5 cent is their cost and they are selling at 3.2 cents. They are losing money. Wafer cost is quite similar. The other manufacturing cost in India is much higher. Yeah.
I think 2 चीजें बड़ी important हैं इसके लिए. Number 1, R&D. Unless you establish your own R&D, research and development, in-house research, in-house development, and that has to be a very high-tech, on the forefront of the technology, you will always be lagging behind the other countries. So this is one thing that we need to do. And industries like manufacturing industries, and we have NITs, right? We have international reputed institutions. Talent, there is no dearth of talent as far as India is concerned. Only thing is that they need to be supported. So if industry supports them, funds them, I'm sure down the line, take 3 years or 5 years, we will be much better than China. China was quite poor. I mean, they have invested in their manpower, in R&D, and now they are there. So this is one thing that we as a country need to invest in R&D. Second thing is, of course, the scale part, the volume part. So unless we scale it up at a larger level, and there are big groups which have announced, which are announcing, and as you rightly mentioned today, everybody is talking about 10 gigawatt, 20 gigawatt, while when we started, we were talking about 500 megawatt. That used to be a big capacity. One line, two lines used to be big capacity. But today, everybody is talking in terms of, multiple of 5 gigawatt. So scaling the business. So these are two things, in my opinion, which are going to make you more competitive, and then only the cost would come down. Yeah.
So scale, I guess, there is one player in the industry which has proven what scale can bring to the ecosystem. And you all are now aiming for those scales, right? Goldi, I was hearing, sir, that we are aiming to add almost 9 gigawatts, in the coming, maybe even 1 year, right? And that's a large number. We could not imagine in India that can be, or maybe, Rayzon, Navitas, all are raising money. Solex just gave a target. You're a public company, so I don't know how much you can speak, but this is now in public domain. But all of you have, targets which were unthinkable for the whole ecosystem to have, and now individually you guys all are planning. And I was just looking at Rayzon numbers, and we are looking at a negative working capital business. है ना, धंधा करने के लिए अभी पैसा सामने से मिल रहा है ऐसा equation मतलब हो गया है, which is phenomenal. मतलब if you look at we used to love these businesses जहाँ पे working capital negative हो जाए, growth अच्छा दिख रहा हो, लेकिन competition है, वही डर लगता है ना. मतलब the combination is good, but then the competition maybe scares you a bit. So individually, if you can answer on the scale part, that how you're achieving this scale that you all have, whether in public or other domains, been highlighting, and if that timeline is being achieved, then what are the overall you can say eventual 5 years runway that you feel that individually you guys can achieve?
I think that is a very interesting question to start. हमें भी डर लगता है because 314% growth. So Chetan bhai knows for 13 years you did 3 gigawatt.
Yeah, 13 years 3 gigawatt, and next 6-8 months is 9 more.
And then Ishwar bhai Dilokia calls me at 2 a.m. in the morning and says we are going to 11 gigawatt, right? And he goes in the morning and gets a space blocked. So I think the most important part is policy clarity has enabled that. I think last year was a tough year. I was not involved in the process, but you all know this. It was a tough year for the industry. And I think policy clarity is very important. ALMM clarity has been brought very clearly, and the demand has exploded. And the scaling effect is that there is capital in the market, right? There is capital in the market. What people need is certainty, clarity, and of course, this type of cost precision, confidence that we will develop a good ecosystem so that investors who are thinking long term will take a bet, right? And they all know that clean energy is the future, and it has been the future for a long time. So I think from a scaling point of view, opportunity point of view, these are all real numbers, right? Sir Ebola 500 gigawatt, and right now 500 gigawatt of quality is needed. I keep reminding everybody why, because it's not for the faint-hearted. Because the favorite question I answer all the time is, this much capacity is coming in, so many players are coming. I said, you cannot just put everybody in one group.
Yeah.
Not everybody has perfected the art of performance, output efficiency. So from that perspective, I think it's a long-term view you have to take in this business. And when you're taking that view, people who are willing to put that kind of capital, wait, and earn it, they are going to obviously make the barriers, and it's a growth business, right, from that perspective. So that's the way we are approaching scale. Scale is from the confidence that the market tells us we can play and stay. That's what it is.
Thank you so much. Yeah.
And last one thing to add here, everyone has announced big plans, like everyone has a big capex plan. But we are seeing a lot of players are facing challenges in execution of capacity. So what are challenges there, and how you see we can have a capacity of 20-25 gigawatt kind of cell capacity in how many years? And what are the challenges in capex everyone is facing?
I still remember the time in 2009-10 where we approached to the bank for the funding to set up the module manufacturing line. We approached 6 banks. Out of 6 banks, 4 banks refused. They said the solar module manufacturing is in our negative list, so we cannot fund you. And then hardly one bank, we could convince them, and then, they funded us in 2009-10. Reason was that price came down from 140 rupees to 43 rupees at that time in just very 6-month time slot. So, we have gone through that phase of, the shortage of fund, that nobody were willing to fund the project, negative lease and those kind of things we have heard. And now the time has changed. The way you people have supported us and willing to support us now in future journey, I think the whole game is changed now. And check like a yeah. So basically, this was needed, positivity. India don't invest in failures. That is a problem. US invest in failures. That mindset we need to change. The solar industry in India has never failed. It has grown. Continuously, it has grown year on year. It was slow, now it is fast. Such a change is only speed, right? So I think it is more sustainable business. Now, when it comes to the cell manufacturing, again, challenge is a fund and speed. Because the way the technology is changing so fast, if you take your own piece of time, Indian way, I think you cannot, right? So you have to become a Chinese again. Speed. You have to bring a speed, run it fast, make it more efficient, and change it. If you don't change it, again, then you'll end up in losing money. The investment, the fast express investment needed there. I think the way, because it's almost 34 years I've done business. For last 4 years, you have all become my guru also. Because I'm learning a new, because I still remember, if I could have a private company, privately held company, then maybe, मैं सोच नहीं सकता था कि मैं आज 15 gigawatt करूँगा, 20 gigawatt करूँगा. It is only because of the support and the positivity from your end. I think so the major clap, which is, you guys deserve, then all of us. एक चीज मैं आपको कहना चाहूँगा, definitely, कि the way the investors are positive, the equity market is very positive and bullish about RE industry. And because of that, all are expanding and all are those who are not in a listed space, they are coming up very soon. So, एक चीज है कि the way we have changed our approach with the mindset of this, because कोई भी एक private company है जो इतना professionally या तो इतना transparency से काम नहीं करती थी. Now all companies are working so transparently and efficiently because there is every day there is a monitoring. People are watching you. And लोग question करते हैं जो पहले नहीं था. So I think that is something which is very positive and which will take this industry to next level. एक ही चीज है, हमें बहुत ज़्यादा stock market मत सिखाइए. हमें बिजनेस पे फोकस करने दीजिए.
We'll begin the
Otherwise,
question.
it will go somewhere.
We'll begin the question and answer round. So we'll take 3 questions from the audience for the round.
Must have shown a tile, a solar roofing tile. So that was kind of game changer. And so I was just curious as why we are not able to make that kind of thing. Since you all are, many of you are manufacturers. So just a curious question.
See, these are the innovations. And basically, India is a different country. वहाँ पे वो लोग जो 30 डिग्री पे खत्म होते हैं, हम लोग 30 डिग्री से शुरू होते हैं. So इंडियन कंटेक्स्ट के अंदर जो राइट प्रोडक्ट है वही इंडिया में हमें अडॉप्ट करनी चाहिए. दैट इज द फर्स्ट थिंग. सेकंड थिंग इज कि इंडिया इज बहुत प्राइस सेंसिटिव मार्केट है. लोग प्राइस देखते हैं कि आप कितना कैपेक्स लग रहा है और उसके सामने आउटपुट क्या है. तो बेसिकली दिस आर द गुड प्रोडक्ट. बट देन इसके लिए कुछ स्पेसिफिक कंट्रीज होते हैं जहाँ पे ये प्रोडक्ट चलती है. इंडिया में हर प्रोडक्ट नहीं चलती है.
So risk of disruption from Elon Musk is minimal, I guess.
Risk of
disruption from that kind of
no,
thing.
No. I don't see that.
Thank you.
Yeah.
No, but at least I have this information that one company has already started manufacturing this kind of tiles. So, and they have got associated with one EPC company which has automated. It's a wonderful thing that they are doing. So sitting in their home, they should be able to reach to your home, will be able to design, will be able to plan the rooftop, and then the tiles are available. With those tiles, the entire roof can be covered. This is a part of BIPV, basically, Building Integrated Photovoltaic. So as Chetan bhai rightly mentioned, some of the things are, from proving the concept part, yeah, proof of concept. Your building has got, let's say, 3 sections. One is on eastern side, other is the roof, and third is, let's say, western portion, right? So when sun is rising, your eastern wall is generating the electricity. Once the sun reaches at zenith, दोपहर जब हो जाती है, so now your eastern wall is not generating. So it's generating only 1/3 time, right? Then your roof is generating for about 1/3 time, and then the western wall would generate for 1/3 time, right? So actually you are getting 1/3 of the total generation as compared to if it is laid on the ground. So the LCOE becomes 3 times. So that's the reason that India will finally adopt, but it will take some time.
Got it. Thank you. Thank you, sir.
Hello. Yeah. Hi, everyone. Yeah, somebody. So sorry, I'm here. Yeah. So I have a question for the US as well. I heard that US is gearing up to provide incentive for companies to come and invest into manufacturing solar modules and solar cells. How much do you think, how far, when they will be able to reach that level where it can affect us as well as China?
So for US, I think whatever announcements been made are all made mostly by the Indian companies. So yeah, Rayzon has made it, I have made it, everyone has made it. So even if it's made in US, it's made by an Indian. So again, we are all waiting for clarifications on the incentive. Once the clarities are there for the incentives for US made, then probably we might end up spending money there.
In fact, my take on manufacturing in US is basically, I think the US is still not ready. I remember like during Obama administration, there was an incentive declared for 5 years. And then the Trump came and he withdrew those investments. So those 4 or 5 factories, those who, started based on those investment, they suffered a lot. Now again, there are incentives and after November, who knows, So basically, the fundamentally business should be established not based on incentives. It should be established based on your OPEX, operational expenditure. How the OPEX, how competitive you are in OPEX. US is very, very big country. If you have a customer in East Coast and then you have a factory in West Coast, you cannot service those customers because there is no coastal route to transport your modules, right? And so there is only the road and the rail. So basically, and the cost of operation is something which is very high. Whereas, and these announcements were made, I think 18 months before, where the prices were 32 to 35 cents per watt peak, which has come down to 23, 24 cents now. So viability is something which is very important because you are still dependent on, 100% dependent on import of raw material in USA. So that means you are bringing raw material from the Asian countries to USA, the logistic cost is high, you are manufacturing at a higher cost, your wages are high, your transportation cost is also high. So again, we need to do our mathematics and then take an appropriate decision.
Thank you, sir.
Excuse me. Hello, everyone. I am Keshav, and I have been associated with Arvind as investor. And my question to all of you is that solar is going in a transformation phase as an investor I can see. The biggest challenge I see is of the land bank when we talk about the 1,000 gigawatt target as sir mentioned. So how are we looking as innovation in terms of vertical panels or thermosensitive or heat sensitive panels? Because I have seen some companies in US taking up that as technological advancement and innovations. Thank you.
Yeah, there are 2 constraints mainly. One is land part and second is the power evacuation capacity part. So when we were talking about execution, you did, like the answer you got from manufacturing part, what are the execution constraints. But if you are going to implement it on ground, these are the two another big bottlenecks. You rightly mentioned the land bank, and the second thing is power evacuation. I'll come to land bank later. On power evacuation, as I mentioned, center has already allocated 20,000 crore rupees for ISTS and high voltage DC transmission. You will be happy to know that our own state, Gujarat, the JETCO, has announced 1 lakh crore rupees investment in transmission line and substation, which is much higher than 20,000 crore. So there are 1,000 substations which JETCO is planning in, up to 2032. So about another 7 to 8 years. So 1,000 substations. And Gujarat is going to be the only state in our country which has got COD policy, connectivity on demand. They say, wherever you have land, you please tell me, I'll come and I'll take the power from there. So they will build their substation somewhere closer to your land. So this is the connectivity part. Of course, it will take some time, but since the growth is happening much faster, so it will take some time, but the things are all in pipeline. Coming to the land part, yes, you rightly mentioned that land is limited, but whatever we are talking today, the India's potential is 746 gigawatt in terms of solar. That has been calculated keeping all the wastelands and available lands which are available. India is a big country, right? Unutilized area, our roofs are unutilized, our water bodies are unutilized, our universities rooftops, our hotel rooftops, our all building rooftops are unutilized. So land hopefully is not going to be a big constraint, but yes, government will also have to acquire land, make a solar park, and will have to do something, some facilitation in terms of improving the land. Coming to the efficiency part, that or innovation part, I'm sure going forward, this is what I mentioned as R&D. Internationally, things are happening on that. Technology will keep changing. Things will start generating from these lights also, for example. Whatever these lights are there, they are all photons, right? So if you have a so sensitive solar panel, these photons also would start generating the electricity. So things will come, it will take some time, but I'm quite confident that ecosystem is quite positive and things will be taken care of.
In fact, 2010 में जो भी पावर प्लांट लगे थे 1 मेगावाट में 7 एकड़ लैंड की रिक्वायरमेंट थी तब 220 वाट पीक पैनल्स लग रही थी वो लैंड की रिक्वायरमेंट अभी पर मेगावाट जो है 2.75 एकड़ हो गया और अगले 2 साल में जो हिसाब से हाई एफिशिएंसी पैनल आएगी आ रही है सो दैट विल कम डाउन टू 2 एकड़ लैंड पर मेगावाट कैन यू इमेजिन 7 एकड़ टू 2 एकड़ दैट मीन्स कि जो जितना भी ग्रोथ आ रहा है आई मीन एक ही लाइन में कहना है तो इंडिया इज रेडी फॉर 1000 गीगावाट लैंड का कोई इशू नहीं है इट इज जस्ट ऑर्गेनाइजिंग इट प्रॉपरली चैनलाइजिंग द पावर लैंड के लॉज है वो उसमें रिफॉर्म लाने की जरूरत है लैंड तो एम्पल है हमारे पास बहुत जमीन है
चेतन भाई एड ट्रैकर ऑल्सो राइट विथ ट्रैकर सन ट्रैकिंग with today I have implemented tracker in my entire plant now and we have taken a conscious decision that all our plants now will be with tracker. So it is with single axis tracker we are able to get 20% more yield. So I have not gone seasonal tracking. It is only east to west. So day wise tracking and we are getting 20% more. That means 20% land we will be able to save just by utilizing these trackers. So technology will keep helping in that.
Thank you so much, sir. We'll take the further questions later. I request Mr. Sandeep Kapadia, Mr. Saket Agrawal and Mr. Arvind Kothari to honor the guest with the mementos.